What it do, snackers and snackettes? This is Snacking and Hanging, the Loading Snacks podcast. I'm your boy Gage. I got one of the usual suspects with me, the NuJoker, in the house. This is episode 50. NuJoker, speak to the folks.
Episode 50. What's going on, everybody? We have reached a milestone.
Indeed, it's real out there. It's really real out there. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging and kicking or snacking and hanging with us. Dude, Nintendo Switch. Obviously, we're gonna get into it.
Yep.
So you guys just have to be a little bit patient because before we get into Switch, we're gonna talk about at least one other thing. I don't know if we're gonna do a break this episode. We might just be too excited.
I know, just keep going straight through
I'm
there.
sure there'll be a break at some point. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But I want to talk for a moment. I figure we just get right into it. Scalebound.
Yep.
Scalebound, which was a Platinum Games developed title exclusively for Microsoft. I was going to say Xbox, but I guess it was going to end up being Microsoft as well as PC because it probably was going to be Play Anywhere because it's exclusive. Has been canceled. And I know how I feel about it. I know how I feel about it. I'm disappointed probably more than anything else because, I was kind of excited about it. And I'm going to say that I was excited about it mostly because it was a new IP and it was outside of the realm of what we normally get from Microsoft, which tends to be very heavily Western. If that makes sense.
I get you.
But the other thing is, and I've been thinking about this a little bit, Platinum as a developer is, I've been listening to a lot of people talk about this and say that Platinum's a great developer. And I'm not so sure that's true. I know people love Bayonetta 1 and 2. Are you a Bayonetta fan?
I enjoyed it.
I'm going to ask you a question. What other games from Platinum are you familiar with and or do you enjoy or have you enjoyed?
Honestly, it probably would be Bayonetta. That's probably for me. And there was something else by Platinum.
There are definitely other games. There's Vanquish. There's other stuff. But here, I guess my point is, even if they're a decent developer, even if some people think they're a really great developer, none of their titles sell well. Like they don't do big hits, even if people who do play the games they make like them. So I don't know that they're this super great developer. However, I will say that they have a pedigree. They are known for making Japanese action titles. And they tend to be pretty good. Like they did Metal Gear Revengeance.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? There we go. They did but that's one of the things that they've kind of been doing is they've been taking on a lot of licenses. So recently they did that Ninja Turtles game, which I was excited about because I thought, they do this action so well, this will be cool and it's 4 players or whatever, and nobody seemed to like it. They did the Transformers game like the year before that, Transformers Devastation. But they did that terrible Legend of Korra game like the year before that. So they've taken on these these licensed titles that I guess put some cash in their pocket. Maybe so they can continue to do other things, whatever, but they tend to not be good. And even the games that they do make that people do seem to like, they don't sell well. So I just don't know if they're as good as people think. However, I was excited because they were doing something new and different, something I had not seen them do before, which was a big open world RPG. Whether it was action or not, you might have some elements of RPG in some of their stuff, but this was an RPG. It had co-op. For an RPG, the big dragon friends things. And, it's kind of nice to see Microsoft branching out a bit and doing something that wasn't Gears of War or Halo.
True
You know
that.
what I mean? Not to say like I enjoyed Quantum Break, but let's be honest, it's not like Quantum Break did really, really well. You know what I mean? Um, and it was not necessarily outside of the realm of what Remedy does already. So it's not like we haven't seen something in that realm before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when the 360 came out, Microsoft kind of jumped out there in an attempt to grab a Japanese market that they didn't have with the OG Xbox, with games like Blue Dragon. They jumped out there with like RPGs. And so I thought, and those were good. So I
True.
just thought, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, with like some Microsoft money behind them, this is gonna work out.
This is
You know
gonna
what I'm
work.
saying?
It's gonna come out. Everybody gonna love it.
Yeah. I'm
But
disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm a little upset. Uh, you know, if that doesn't necessarily, I haven't managed to find out. I saw that people were asking, trying to figure out who the IP belongs to, whether or not it was Microsoft's IP or whether or not it was Platinum's IP. And I have not seen comments one way or the other as to who actually
who
owns the
actually had
IP.
it?
And so, I suppose that there's a possibility that we could still see Scalebound if Microsoft owns it and they give it to another developer, or if Platinum owns it and they decide to do it and maybe it ends up on multiple platforms or something like that, kind of like what recently happened with Rhyme, where
Mm-hmm.
Rhyme was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, Sony dropped them, and now it's coming across the board to everyone, so it's no longer an exclusive title. So something like that could happen with Scalebound, but Platinum is working on other things, and maybe that's part of why this didn't work out. Maybe they were spending their time doing other things they shouldn't have been. I don't know what kind of a team, what size their team is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know. Were you even excited about Scalebound yourself?
I remember from what you were talking about with it, I was real interested in it,
Yeah.
and just like you said, because it was something different.
Yeah.
Um, but like for me, it wasn't necessarily, I wasn't like, man, like really being mad about it, but just to see someone, a game that we've known about that's been known for a little while that was going to come out to change up a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It really is sad to see that something like that just gets canceled and potentially just just thrown away.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 years of worth of work. I imagine. Now, maybe they just weren't even close to being. Maybe it just didn't look like 2 years worth of work. You know what I'm saying? By the
True that.
time, you figure, if you're Microsoft, or really for that matter, any publisher that's giving money to a developer, and you say, okay, here's this much money, and you need to hit this milestone by this time. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not hitting those dates, or it's not looking right, when that's supposed to happen, at some point you got to pull the plug. You know what I mean? And I'm
Right.
okay with that. Like, take those resources and put them somewhere else. But again, this is something I would have liked to have seen. At the same time, now I'm getting a little more to where I would kind of like to see Microsoft um, actually get some studios of their
Mm-hmm.
own. Besides 343 and the coalition, like, it's time to kind of do some other things and branch out and get other styles of games besides those shooters. That's what they're known for. People love them. You know, games like Gears of War sell better on Microsoft by itself than like all of Uncharted does. You know what I mean? Like, Uncharted
Right.
don't generally even come close, so to speak, although Uncharted 4 just recently did sell like a lot, like 8 million, 9 million copies or something like that. Um anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that. I'm a little disappointed. You guys let me know what you think in the comments about, one, Platinum as a developer as a whole. Two, about Microsoft not having this exclusive. For real, do you even care about exclusives? I mean, I still think they're important.
I do
Um,
too. I mean, like for me, like I have both consoles, so
right.
it's like it's never really necessarily that issue. But I feel like having those exclusives are what help drive your franchise. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's games that you'll only be able to get on Xbox, and like say pick a Gears of War, it's done great over all of these years,
Right.
or like a Halo, it's done great all over these years. And for you to like say if I was to talk to you, maybe you had never played Halo before, I invited you to come over, we play Halo together, you loved it, you may now go out and buy
An
an
Xbox.
Xbox now
Right.
that you may never have
I
to
mean,
jump in so you'll have it.
you're right. And I think that there is or at least there's a need for there to be more to an exclusive than it's only exclusive to that console. When I say that in the sense that like
Oh,
it
agreed.
belongs to that like it belongs to Microsoft or it belongs to Sony. So again, with say Uncharted, you know what I mean? Like it belongs to them. Where if you think in terms of something like Mass Effect was an Xbox exclusive title. Microsoft
Originally.
Microsoft published it, and then eventually EA ends up picking it up. Now, but again, it was a BioWare game though. Like Microsoft didn't own BioWare. You know what I mean? They did kind of like what they were doing with Platinum. They were paying to have BioWare publish this game and have it be exclusive to their console. So it was a console exclusive, but it's not like the way Naughty Dog only makes games for PlayStation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not the same thing. And you have that with 343, but again, you also have to remember that Bungie initially was a Microsoft. You know, they purchased the rights to Halo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little
Right.
bit different. Nintendo, by all accounts, banks on exclusivity. There is something very specific about Nintendo and their studios and the games that they make, and that the games that only show up on a Nintendo console, like a Kirby. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sell millions and millions of copies or whatever, but you know you're not getting it anywhere else. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's Mario. Obviously, there's Zelda. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I guess Pikmin if you care. Um, but yeah, I mean, I do think I think exclusivity actually does matter. Um, a lot of times it just adds fuel to the fanboy fire, but you know, I don't know. I do think it's important though. Um, anyway, Nintendo Switch.
The
Speaking of
Switch.
Nintendo and their exclusives, so the Switch event happened on Thursday, the main event, and there was a Treehouse event that happened on Friday, and man, it was late.
Just a little bit.
It was late for us, but there was a lot of information. So before we even get into anything, I want to know where do you stand overall on the Switch now that you've seen the Switch reveal?
So I'm happy we've seen it, and I'm happy we did get to see some of those small things, like the motion controls, all of those kind of things are still going to be integrated in with the Switch. But like
Just what do you
with,
feel like? Okay, you're excited about the Switch.
I think the way for me, I'll say is I'm okay. I wasn't absolutely super wowed about it, but yet I wasn't, oh, this is a piece of garbage kind of thing. I would just say I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay. So, were you? Do you feel having seen it? I guess now the question is, having seen it now after the reveal, do you feel better or worse about it than you did prior to seeing the reveal, or does it seem the same to you? And it's not
I
like
know I feel a little bit better. I
okay,
do feel a little bit better about it.
okay,
Um, I mean, just some of the small things. We've seen some of the additional accessories that we're going to get from it. We got a little bit more clarification on certain things. The battery life. We did learn a little bit more about it,
right.
where it's
And
not the
we'll get into all
absolute.
that kind of
We'll
stuff.
get
I
into
just
the
want to know
detail,
what you, yeah, how you feel about it.
but I mean, I feel I'm in a better place than what it was before. Like when we just kind of got here's the Switch. It's going to be this portable thing that's got a screen to it, and you can take it wherever you go.
Right.
I definitely feel a little bit better from that point.
Okay. Um, I agree. You know what? I'm gonna jump out and say I'm a little excited. maybe prematurely excited, but I'm a little bit excited. I'm also cautiously optimistic about what is actually going to happen. You know,
Mm-hmm.
again, we'll get into specifics. My concern with any Nintendo console now is what the Wii effect is.
Mm-hmm.
And this system, just like you mentioned with there's like motion controls and stuff like that now, man, this system has a lot of potential for shovelware. And that there's a problem for me. Um, there are always third parties that are eager to get onto whatever Nintendo is doing when they're first doing it because it always seems like it's really exciting.
Absolutely.
Um, and then it kind of wanes. So my my feeling is that right now we are seeing what looks and feels like a lot of support, but we are seeing a lot of stuff coming from Nintendo as well. And I don't want to be there's a lot of stuff that's coming from Nintendo, a lot of games that are announced, some Nintendo specific, some not. Um but my concern, and we'll get into the games, we'll go through a list of the games and stuff that have been confirmed or, whatever. But my concern is that the Wii U is a failure. And that system has been really, really quiet, relatively dormant for the last like 2 years. There has not been much in the way of releases for the Wii U, which says to me Nintendo has had their developers working on stuff for the
The
Switch.
Switch for a good while.
Right. Which means there should be a lot of stuff to come. But one of the issues with the Wii U was that without the full on third party support, Nintendo did not seem to be able to keep up with continuously cranking out games. And so there was such a lull between when you got a Mario, when you got Mario Kart, never got the Zelda. You know what I mean? That yeah, there was Splatoon, and that breathed a little life back into it. And when Mario Kart came out, it breathed a little life into it, and whatever. But there was so much space because Nintendo could not keep up with the demand for the games that they need to provide.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no third party support, and if the third party support that looks like it's there now wanes, then they're back in trouble again. So, let's do this. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what we did see. Why don't we start by talking about the system itself? We've seen the system before. This is not the first
Mm-hmm.
time we've seen the system. Um, we did get some more pertinent information. So I'm going to kind of run through some of the things that I saw. If I leave anything out, just jump in. Let me
Cool.
know if there's something that, stands out, just say so. But here's one of the things that stood out to me. There will be no region lock on this system.
Love it.
Now, I imported games for a long time. I don't read Japanese. But if there's the right game, I will most certainly import a game and play it. But this is something that needed to happen because Microsoft did it and Sony did it. It's just time for them to get past it and do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The other reason why I think this is a big deal and is exciting is because I, again, am a person who believes that this system is in place to remove the 3DS. It doesn't mean there won't be some other portable system that they do that's separate from this, but this is essentially a portable system. And
Yep.
and it's made as true as possible by looking at and listening to them talk about this system. The console is just the screen. The console is the screen. What you have when you're playing it on your television is you have your portable console docked in a docking station. That's all this is. If they could have found a way for you to be able to dock a 3DS and make it look good on your TV, they would have. So, I think this is replacing that. And many titles come out for the 3DS that people who are 3DS players would love to play across the board on their systems if they could do it importing them and they were region free. And
Absolutely.
that might be one of the things that makes this system live and breathe and work well, because they may get the third-party support that they need just based on the portability thing alone. People who developed for 3DS may jump in and do this. So region lock, that's a big deal. Now, second thing is, we know that the system uses cartridges. What that said to me is, either there's got to be memory that's on the cartridge for you to be able to store your saves, or there's got to be an internal memory on the console itself. The console has a 32 gigabyte internal hard drive. So that's where your memory is going to go, and that's what you're going to be using for your like downloadable titles. Or if you're doing, eShop stuff or whatever. Now, on that note, 32 gigs is not a lot.
It's not in any shape or form.
I mean, but again, these are games that are on cartridges. Now, that's not to say, obviously micro SD cards can hold tons of gigs of space, and there is a micro SD card slot underneath of the kickstand for the console. And it will work with any micro SD, whatever amount is available currently for micro SD can do it. So they're like 256 gigs. I've seen terabyte.
You can get bigger than
SD
that.
cards, yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing that I find interesting, and I need to look at this really quickly. I find it interesting. There are 2 USB ports that are on the dock. And I knew that there were USB ports on the dock already. However, I have to assume that those are for being able to add a hard drive, an external hard drive, I would think.
Potentially. That definitely sounds like an option, because I guess we could look at it in a perspective. Maybe you're someone that may never take out your Switch and you just want to keep everything localized, whatever downloads.
Like me.
Because, you could just keep it right there on your hard drive versus the memory card.
Yeah. Like, I don't have
cheaper in certain situations.
Any reason for real to undock. I just don't. Like, I'm just not going to walk around with that screen and play it somewhere. I'm just not. And that doesn't mean I won't ever take it if, the kids and I go on vacation or something like that. Doesn't mean I wouldn't ever take it at all.
Right.
But chances are, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it with another dock, which they do have docks being sold separately. Again, just more proof in the pudding that this is a portable system. They're calling it a console. It's not really a home console. This is replacing the 3DS as far as I'm concerned. It is a portable console. It is a tablet screen. It's touchscreen, which we didn't know for sure before, but we know now. I'm looking to see whether or not there is a USB slot on the actual console.
Now, I do know,
and there's not.
On the bottom of it, it's a USB Type-C connector.
Yeah,
that's
but
on there.
That's for charging it. That's not for you. Like, that's not for you having an external hard drive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
An external hard drive doesn't hook up like that. Like, they could, but you know what I mean? Like, I suppose in some way, shape, or form there is, but I think that SD card slot is going to be a major thing. If you know what I mean? But I can't figure out what else the USB slots would be for that are on the actual dock if it's not for doing an external hard drive, and why there's 2 of them. You know what I mean? Look, again, Nintendo is really, really good at having accessories, which we will definitely get to as far as this is concerned, because there are a lot of accessories already. There could be any number of things that they're planning to come out with. I saw rumors not that long ago about there being like a virtual reality headset possibly for this. So we'll get into that. So battery life. The system. Okay, so here's the thing. The system says it will have a 3 to 6 hour battery life, obviously when it's not docked, depending on what game you're playing. So games that, like Zelda is expected to have about a 3 hour life. But there's a lot going on in that. It's a big open world. I would imagine that Skyrim, which was officially announced for it, I would imagine that would be 2.5. It actually says 2.5 to 6 hours. Now, on that note, you got to remember that the Joy-Cons themselves are also have to be charged. So battery life on the Joy-Cons is about 20 hours for each one. Okay, but they will charge automatically when they are on the system. And you have to remember that the Joy-Cons, when they're connected to the screen, they're pulling battery life from
Power from
right,
there as well.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is the AC adapter that comes with the console is a USB-C AC adapter. That is plugged in. That would be plugged into your docking station. Okay, so that USB-C AC adapter can be used to charge and power your actual console, just the screen by itself, when you're on the go. So that's a good thing. And I've already seen like car chargers and stuff like that for it that are USB-C and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, there are going to be ways to do it, but you just got to remember, like, if you're out somewhere and you don't have that, you only get 3 to 6 hours depending on what you're playing and what you're doing. So I mean, again, that's cool, I suppose. So look, you can connect up to 8 of these wirelessly via Wi-Fi for play. So if you're playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which was announced, for the system, you can have 8 people jump in and play together, connected via Wi-Fi. So that's kind of cool. Let's talk about the Joy-Cons themselves. We already talked about the battery life of the Joy-Cons. There is an NFC. There's NFC included on the right Joy-Con itself. On the left Joy-Con, there's a home button on the right Joy-Con. On the left Joy-Con, where the home button is, opposite where that home button is, there's a square button. That is the share button. So at release, the share button will be used to share screenshots and so forth. But later on, they said you will be able to share video. So now I don't know if that means you'll be able to, send stuff directly to YouTube, or if Nintendo's going to have some kind of strange, you got to watch it on a Nintendo channel thing or something like that. Who knows? Because Nintendo is the one company that seems to be very stingy and picky about allowing people to upload their content or, do stuff with their content on, Let's Plays or whatever on YouTube. They always claim it and won't let you, So that's kind of tricky. When the Joy-Cons are separated, there are shoulder buttons that are on top. There are the SL and the SR button. The controllers both have full accelerometers. There is an IR camera and reader on the bottom of each Joy-Con that can be used for certain games. We'll get into that in a second. And there are wrist straps for the Joy-Cons that, as opposed to just being the normal strap like you saw with the Wii remote, these are actual slide-on attachments that give you a better SL and SR button. So far, so good? We're good? Everybody's with me? Excellent. Now, there are neon blue and neon red Joy-Cons available. It appears, I have not been able to confirm this. So there will be 2 systems at launch. There will be one that has the gray Joy-Cons that you have seen in most of the pictures, and there will be ones that they showed at the launch event where there is one blue one and one red one. And the systems cost the same. You just can choose if you want to get one that has the gray or if you want to get one that has a blue one and a red one. Now, you can't get one that has 2 red ones or one that has 2 blue ones. You can only get one that has 1 red one and 1 blue one. However, you can purchase Joy-Cons separately. And again, there's a lot to that. Joy-Cons, like if you want to buy just one Joy-Con, a left one or a right one, they are $50 a piece. If you buy them together, it's $80. Now, I don't know if they're going to have red right Joy-Cons and red left Joy-Con. You know what I mean? Like you may only be able to get right Joy-Cons and blue or something like
Now,
that. Like I don't know.
I could tell you this right now from GameStop's website.
Uh-huh.
The red ones are listed there together individually. So you can
You
when you buy the one set, it'll have the left and the right Joy-Con in there. But they have
But are
the
they
red
both
one.
red, I guess is what I'm at. Yeah, so
Yes, they're
okay.
both red.
Okay.
They're both red.
Okay.
And they have the gray one. Now, the blue one I haven't seen just yet, so
Huh.
I don't know if maybe it's just not up on GameStop's website as of yet,
Yeah.
but or maybe they're not too sure, but definitely the red and the gray ones are available on GameStop's website
Okay.
right now.
Okay. That's cool. I can dig that. Um I am I mean I don't really I knew Nintendo was going to do color controllers. I mean, it's kind of a Nintendo
Of
thing. Like
course.
that just makes sense. I don't really care either way. I mean, yes, I do. I would rather have the gray ones than have the colorful ones, especially because they don't match. Like if they were gonna do ones that matched, then I'd probably feel fine about it, if that makes sense. Um, but because they don't match, it's kind of like why? Why'd you do that? But it honestly, it sounds like a very Japanese decision, so that's okay. Um, Now, those Joy-Cons, the right Joy-Con, the camera that's on it, can detect things like rock, paper, scissors. That's kind of important for us.
I like
That's
that.
just kind
I
of
really
important
like
for us.
that.
I just want everybody to know that. It's kind of important for us. Um, I don't think there's much else in terms of the hardware to discuss, unless there is something else you want to. I can tell you that when you buy the console comes with, like when you buy it, the Switch, it comes with the console itself, which again is the screen that you see that the cartridge goes in and all that stuff. It comes with the dock, a left and a right Joy-Con, two wrist straps. So again, those are the slide-on
Hmm.
attachments, an HDMI cable. All of that is included with it, and the price was announced at $299, so $300. Now, when you and I talked about this like last week, I was like, I think 250 is the right place. You know what I mean? It's the right
Hmm.
place to be. Um, I still think 250 would have been the better place to be, but I was also kind of banking on there being a pack-in game, and there's not
Nope.
a
Not
pack-in
at
game.
all.
So you said between 250 and 299, which again I think is okay. I don't necessarily. Here's the thing. Based on what I knew prior to watching the event, I felt like 250 was where they needed to be. Knowing what I know now about the complexity of the Joy-Con controllers themselves, the built-in IR and the camera and the accelerometers and the rumble and you know what I mean? Like, man, those seem like expensive little pieces of
Yep.
hardware. And then the slide-on wrist straps instead of just having cloth, you know what I mean? Wrist straps and I mean, and the dock by itself, you can buy a dock by itself. Again, it's $90 for a dock.
$90.
$90 for the dock by itself. Now I have not seen anything that says you can buy the console by itself, just the screen. Um, you know, but I don't necessarily think 300 is a bad price, so to speak. Anything higher than that, we would have had a problem.
Wait a minute.
Still, I mean, let's just get this out. Let's just get this out of the way. Pre-orders are sold out all over the place. Not everywhere. It doesn't seem like quite yet, but like Walmart sold out of pre-orders like within an hour of the presentation,
Hmm.
and Amazon's pre-orders have been saying they were in stock and out of stock, and then in stock and out of stock or whatever. So we're not sure what's going on with Amazon. Best Buy still has pre-orders up as of this recording, available. It looks like.
I believe in store. I think they took the ones down off
From
the
online,
website though.
I can tell you in a second.
No, I'm actually doing it myself too. Uh,
Uh,
yeah. Now they just say coming soon. So before you were able to
well,
actually click on it to say pre-order, but now it's just coming soon.
well, not mine, sir. Mine does not
Really?
say that. Yeah.
Mine says coming
Nintendo of
soon. Notify me
America
when
Switch
available.
32 gig console, gray Joy-Con, Model HACSKAAA. Store pickup free. $2.99. I don't know.
Nope. Only thing mine says is notify me when available.
Okay. Well, okay. So let's go with they're out. Let's go with that. It's probably, most likely the truth. And GameStop is out of pre-orders. Now, my understanding was we were looking at somewhere like only maybe 2 million units, which is nowhere near enough for a launch.
Not at all.
Which was another issue that I said we would have with them.
Well, we knew Nintendo was going to do that again.
Yeah. So that's a problem. But let's talk more about the system and what's coming out for it, and all that good stuff. So I think that pretty much covers the hardware. Would you say?
Yeah,
I mean, there's still, there's a couple things. There's tons of accessories from other companies and stuff like that. But on the Nintendo side, there is also like their Pro controller, which I want to say is $60. I do believe.
I believe so.
Yeah, but so there's also their Pro controller. Which, to be honest, I'm not really sure why you would need a Pro controller unless you just want to keep your Joy-Cons charged and connected so that they're not out when you're ready to go. Because it comes with, there's a grip for, which I guess I didn't mention, I guess I should have. In terms of hardware, there's the Joy-Con grip, which you've seen it before. It's just that little gray plate that the Joy-Cons slide onto. That also comes with the console. So you get something that's like the Pro controller anyway, with the Switch. I mean, I guess if you just want to have a second controller, it's cheaper to buy the Pro controller, than it is to buy 2 Joy-Cons.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially because then you would also need to buy a grip. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can use the Joy-Cons without the grip, but I don't know. So listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a real quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk games. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's take a quick break. And we are back. So this is episode 50 of Snacking and Hanging. This is the Loading Snacks podcast. And we are going a bit more gaming focused this year. And to start things off, why not start with the Nintendo Switch, which, we just had our keynote, a reveal that kind of gave us a lot of information. There are some other things. I do want to talk about one or two things before we get too deep into the games, if that's okay with you, NuJoker.
Yeah, go for it.
So here's one of the things that was spoken about that sort of caught me off guard. Nintendo has said that they will have an online service. That it will be free when the system releases, but that then it will switch over to a paid online service. So not unlike what PlayStation Plus is, not unlike what Xbox Live is. So there will be a paid service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of run through what the specifics of that are that have been confirmed so far. Okay, so what we don't know is whether or not, let's say you don't get a Switch until, let's say it's free to be online until like the holiday. Well, let's say you don't buy your Switch until the holiday. Do you still get some level of free, online for a period of time before then you have to pay? Or if, you get a Switch in December and you want to be online, do you immediately have to pay them for that? We don't know that just yet. But what they have confirmed is that there will be monthly free classic games on Switch, available, at least for that month. Now, they have not specifically spoken about the virtual console and what that is going to be like for the Switch. But they have also said that the free game. So again, PlayStation Plus gives you a free game each month. Multiple free games. You get like 2 per console. So like 2 on PS3, 2 on PS4, 2 on Vita.
Mm-hmm.
So technically 6 games if you own all those systems or whatever. Microsoft gives you 4 games each month. Basically 2 for the Xbox One, and 2 that are backwards compatible for 360, but of course you can play them on Xbox One through back compat. The difference between the 2 of those being that PlayStation Plus's free games only remain free for you to play as long as you are a paying member of PlayStation Plus. Where with Xbox Live Gold, whatever games were free when you were a member of Xbox Live Gold, if you downloaded them, those games are yours to keep, regardless of whether you continue to be a Gold member or not. That's probably the biggest differentiator there. With what Nintendo is saying is that there will be a free, like, classic Nintendo game to play, which sounds like it would be like SNES, maybe Wii, maybe Wii U. I don't know if we can call that classic yet. Probably NES titles. But they will only be available for that month. And then when they're gone, unless you buy them, you will not have access to them at all anymore after that month.
That kind of bites.
Well, yeah, it does. So, we don't know what they're going to charge for their monthly fee yet. We haven't seen that. We just know that they intended to charge. But it looks like NES and SNES games. And their services, let's see, it looks like there's going to be a lobby, like an online lobby that you can get into, which, is different from what Nintendo's been doing in the past with, like, the freaking, like, I don't know, 2 zip codes and a phone number you had to have in order to play online with someone, in the past. But basically, there'll be an online lobby and voice chat where you can invite your friends to play online, and you can set up appointments, stuff like that, chat with people or whatever. Again, the monthly game download, and there will be some exclusive deals. So PlayStation and Xbox currently do that, where there are always, like, certain games and things like that that are exclusive that you can get during that time period. What do you think about them charging for online service?
So the thing with that, and I mean, it's mostly one to me. It's going to depend on some of these games. Now,
Yeah.
part of this. So with some of the games that we had announced, like, you clearly can see there's a lot of multiplayer aspect where they haven't been super specific on saying, like, let's use a game as an example. Let's say 1-2 Switch, which was announced. And the way that it was demonstrated to us was more or less, you and a friend are in the same room together playing these type of games with each other. Something like that, I see you may not necessarily have online capability with, but then on the reverse side you have, like, almost that Mario Kart Deluxe where that's got to have that multiplayer, I would think, on there for it. They didn't say anything like, hey, you're going to be able to do Netflix or Hulu, if you're going to have the subscription to do that, or if they're not going to do those kind of things. Like, there's going to be a lot to play into that, and especially if let's say they say you're not going to be able to do, like, Netflix and Hulu, which I'll be really surprised if they say you couldn't. If the price of that subscription ended up being somewhat similar to what it is for Sony and Microsoft with their consoles, I don't know if I'm necessarily ready to pay that much for Nintendo. Especially, like, if I'm only going to be playing Zelda, you may not necessarily even need online. Now, you may get some more specifics saying, oh, hey, maybe eventually do co-op, or maybe there'll be downloadable content or something like that, and you have to have the subscription. But I feel until we get a little bit more details on that, at this point, like, I wouldn't even want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I am all for the idea of paying for the online. Like, I know for a lot of people for a long time, like, that was the biggest argument with, PlayStation 3.
PlayStation
Like,
and
you don't have to
Xbox.
pay
Yep.
to. But the difference in the quality of the online service between Microsoft and Sony is undeniable. It's undeniable. I don't care. I don't care who you are. It's undeniable. And in my opinion, while you could put some of that on the fact that Microsoft is a software company that deals with stuff like that, you know, more than say Sony, which is a hardware company.
Right.
At the end of the day, there is a difference in what it costs to do that and what it takes to keep something like that up and running and not knocked offline consistently and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, Sony, you know, I said way back when, eventually Sony's going to have to charge you for it. They
Yep.
will, because you can't, it costs money to do that. So, you know, I think that for Nintendo to be able to give you an online service that's going to be even close to being able to compete with something even as good as what Sony has, you need to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
now what that means, you know, again, look, I don't do Splatoon. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
know, and I wouldn't play Call of Duty on a Switch. You know what I'm
Not at
saying?
all.
Um, you know, obviously there is Wi-Fi built into just the portable console itself. So, you know, maybe that means it depending on what your connection is like. Like if you're out somewhere, you could be, you know, portable and playing online with all kinds of people, but you know, it does definitely remain to be seen what kind of experiences are available to play online in the first place.
Right.
Um, and I have to imagine that I heard you mentioned like Hulu and Netflix and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think. I mean, I certainly hope they don't intend to charge you to be online in order to connect to those kinds of networks. I mean, even Microsoft doesn't do that anymore. You know what I mean? That used to
Yeah.
be a big thing. Like, you can't even get on Netflix unless you're Xbox Live Gold. Like, that's not the case anymore. So, um, I think they'd be foolish to do that. Um, but I also think it depends on what they're talking about, like how much money they're talking about.
What type of level? Yeah, money and what type of level is online capability we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, and then there also could be tiers. You know what I mean? It you know, maybe there's a difference in what you're able to do or something like that based on, you know, I don't know, you know, based on how much you pay or something like that. We'll just have to see, man. We'll have to see. Um, let's talk games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna run down the list, and then we can talk some specifics if you want to do that.
Cool.
So we'll start with 1-2 switch, which
Mm-hmm.
is exactly what it sounds like. Which doesn't sound like much of anything. We'll talk about that. ARMS. Now 1-2 switch is day and date. The system is coming out on March 3rd. 1-2 switch is March 3rd. ARMS sometime in spring. Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. Skylanders Imaginators, Just Dance 2017, Dragon
Mm-hmm.
Ball. Doesn't say anything else but Dragon Ball. But Dragon Ball. A game called Red Out by Sega, which looks like some kind, almost like an F-Zero kind of style racer. Puyo Puyo Tetris. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Sonic Mania, which has a collector's edition that looks awesome, by the way. It's literally like a 12-inch statue of Sonic standing on a Sega Genesis, and it comes with an old school Genesis cartridge that, like, anyway. Ultra Street Fighter 2, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, Shin Megami Tensei, Project Octopath Traveler. Again, Square. It's a Square Enix game. It looks like a old school, like 8-bit RPG. Skyrim, FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
What did I miss? I'm sure I
I
missed
think
something.
you.
I got a lot of them though.
Yeah, I think you've got. I think you've hit on pretty much just about everything. And did you say Minecraft? Because I know they. I know they did
Yeah,
say
I didn't
Minecraft.
say Minecraft, but yes,
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I think you pretty much nailed everything.
Okay, so 1-2 switch. I'm gonna let you take this one.
Cool. So 1-2 switch. I guess the way to think about it is like I'll use the example they used during the press conference. So they had two cowboys kind of kicking off the festivities for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've seen any of the classic Western movies where you have your standoff, got your two guys waiting to grab the gun to go pull the trigger, that's kind of at least one aspect of the game. So say if me and you were playing, each of us are going to have one of the controllers in our hand, and we're pretty much going to be doing a shootout between the two of us. And
Yeah.
pretty much we'll pull it up, pull our triggers on the controllers, and loser pretty much controller is going to vibrate. Think that kind of sums it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just
Yeah,
gonna be that. There's gonna be
yeah,
other
just an
games
example.
like you'll strike a pose or whatever. The idea behind the game is that you don't really need the screen in order to play. You just need to have
Hmm.
a Joy-Con, and then you can point at each other or do a move or something like that. And the accelerometers and the camera that's on the Joy-Con and whatever are going to allow the game to detect who won, basically.
Hmm.
And you don't need to look at the screen or even use the screen. And that's, it provides kind of like a tabletop, almost like a, a board game kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's not cool, but it's very, very original Wii is
Hmm.
what it is. We'll go with that. Arms. Also, very, very original Wii. This is a game where if you remember playing the boxing in Wii
Boxing
Sports,
game, yeah.
it's literally the exact same game. It's just that now you have a full arena, and when you tilt the Joy-Con controllers left or right, you, instead of just dodging or like tilting your head to the left or right, you like jump and slide to the left or right. And when you punch, you have arms that are made out of springs and have punching gloves on the other end, and you are literally trying to hit each other from far away as you throw these punches. Again, looks dumb and very, very original Wii. Might be fun.
and I
Might be
and
fun.
maybe the only thing I'll say is for at least according to GameStop, like Arms is going to be $59.99.
Yeah.
I really don't feel as though that's one of those games that I'm honestly going to pay $60 to get.
Well, I mean, I feel you. I mean, I will tell you that a lot of the games that I have seen for the Switch are not 59. Like a lot of them are like 39,
Yeah, in
49.
between. Like
Um
a Zelda, like I understand why that's $59.99. That's gonna be
yeah.
$59.99.
Yeah.
But
Still, um I just I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. So we're not gonna get into everything. I mean, you guys kind of know what Skylanders Imaginators is. It's not a Just Dance. Um, I don't know how differently that will work with these, but I mean, this Just Dance really made its move on the original Wii. So to see it there is not really surprising. No idea what Dragon Ball is going to be. Now, Mario Kart
I'm
8
it's
Deluxe.
probably just Xenoverse too. I'm not.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure it'll be
it
Xenoverse.
could be, but literally it just says Dragon Ball. So, and they just put out on the 3DS that Dragon Ball shoot. What is it
Which one? The
yes,
Fusions one?
Fusions.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so it could be it could be any of that. Um it might just be called who knows, for real. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I do want to kind of go over this because this is an older game. I mean, this is a Wii U game that is essentially being re-released, and we're gonna kind of say as an HD remaster. We'll kind of treat it like that. Um, so the game is not coming to the console until April 28th. So it is not a release title, which is really strange to me. Like, this is an old game. Like, get it together and put this thing out, day one.
That
Like,
should have
give
been like a
people
day
something.
one.
Yeah. So basically, there are new characters, like King Boo, Bowser Jr. The characters from Splatoon are in there. Dry Bones is in there. Those are characters that weren't originally there. Um, I know there are alternate outfits for a lot of characters, and there are new carts, obviously, because those characters have to have
Hmm.
their own carts. But let's talk about some of the new modes. There is a lot of people didn't like there either wasn't a battle mode or people didn't like the battle mode. Now there is a real battle mode in this, which is the thing that people were asking for. Like, battle mode is one of my favorite parts of Mario Kart. Ride around, let me pop them balloons, bruh. So they have a battle mode now, and so that's cool. And there's going to be a drive assist. So players can choose this optional mode to help their driving skills or let smaller children race through the tougher courses. This option is shown as an antenna on the back of the cart. So it automatically helps players avoid falling off edges and stuff like that. Dual item capacity, so now you can grab, and you could see that in like the original trailers when they showed the first, like the commercial for the Switch with the grown people playing or whatever. In the Mario Kart, when they were playing that, you could see that there was like a smaller bubble and a larger bubble where it looked like they were holding their their items or whatever that they were using.
Yeah.
So now there's two of those. And there is a boo and a feather. So they were in other games, but that's basically it. There's probably some new maps or something like that too. But if you had Mario Kart 8 and you really liked it, or you never got it, obviously this would be the definitive version to get. This is what I would go with. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm cool with that. Super Bomberman. I forgot about that. There was Super Bomberman. I left that off when I mentioned the games. Ultra Street Fighter 2. Let's be clear about what this is. We know that Street Fighter 5 is alive and kicking. It is a PlayStation exclusive. But Street Fighter 2 made its home on the SNES. And this is like straight up SNES Super Street Fighter 2, but in what they're calling Ultra version. There's like HD visuals, and then there's also like the old school original SNES visuals. And the thing that's cool about this is, I love Street Fighter 2, but one of my favorite things from one of the Street Fighter games, it's not Street Fighter 2, it's actually from one of the alpha games. They had this thing called the Dream Match, like Dream Mode. And it was you and a friend could co-op as Ken and Ryu. Don't get mad. Ken and Ryu. And fight M. Bison. It was beautiful. It was literally like playing the scene out of the Street Fighter animated movie where they were fighting M. Bison, Balrog, for those who know the Japanese names, at the end of the game. And that is awesome. And you can literally play against each other using just the Joy-Cons, hand the other person the Joy-Con and play against each other that way. Or you can play together using the Joy-Cons. And that's dope. And I would probably buy that. Straight up. I don't know when it comes out, but I'd probably buy that. Again, I don't really care about Sonic Mania, but the Collector's Edition looks awesome. You should just look into it. Just look up Sonic Mania Collector's Edition. That's pretty dope. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. And that's not Skyrim. Skyrim was confirmed. It doesn't look like, I guess it's the same original game.
That's what I'm guessing.
It looks a little bit different, but it's running off of a cartridge, so.
Yeah, I don't really expect too much, but just for those people, it's coming up.
Yeah. Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep.
This is probably the most important thing they talked about. Obviously Breath of the Wild was a big deal, and the fact that Breath of the Wild is coming out on release day. Big deal. But
not so much for Super Mario, though.
No, not until holiday. And let's just be clear about one thing. Yes, Breath of the Wild is coming out for the Switch, and it does come out on release day. But unless you just feel like you absolutely have to own this console day one, especially considering what they're saying. I literally think there's 4 titles right now listed as day one titles. Zelda's the best reason to do it, but man, if you have a Wii U, I don't know if I could justify buying the system to get the Switch version, because they haven't said, oh, well, in the Switch version, you can do this. You know what I mean? Like they haven't given you a great reason to be like, to tell you what the difference is between the two. And so if you have a Wii U, honestly, dropping the $50 just to get it, you know what I mean, that same day is probably worth it, honestly. Or if you just can't get it because the pre-orders or they didn't make enough or whatever, um, for the Switch, maybe you do it that way. But Mario Odyssey. Mario for the first time is going to be in our world, sir. It looks like he's
It's
literally in New
kind of
York
cool.
City. Isn't it kind of
It's
cool?
kind of
Because
cool.
am I mistaken or is he supposed to be like a plumber from New York?
He's supposed to be a plumber from New York.
So it's about time my man made it home, right? Am I tripping? Like, I know the princess is pretty and all, but, I mean, come on. Here's why this game looks awesome. It looks like Super Mario 64, and that is the best Mario game ever released. Some people would say it's Mario 3. I disagree. Mario 3 is dope though. But Mario 64,
64.
what that did into like Super Mario 3 is a great game, but it wasn't mind-blowing. You know what I mean? It was like, "Oh my god, there's
Absolutely.
more Mario and he can be a raccoon." Mario 64 was freaking mind-blowing and you could turn into metal. You know what I'm saying? Like and we have not had a game that was like Mario 64 since then. Like Mario Sunshine, kind of. It was behind the back. You had a hub world where you could kind of do things, but nothing like the castle with the different paintings you could jump
Paintings
into
and
for
everything
all
in
the
there.
different secrets and stuff like that that you could find. And like none of that existed in any of the games. Like people like Mario Galaxy. I didn't like Mario Galaxy. Probably because it had no real hub world with like secrets and stuff like that to find. People liked it. It didn't mesh with me. And this is that. This looks like that anyway. You know what I mean?
We hope it
My
is. We
man
really
got some
do.
new moves. Like for some reason, his hat seems to be alive. It's got eyeballs. Um, I'm sure there's a name for it. They didn't tell us what it is.
Nope.
And I saw my man literally on a building, on top of a building in New York, throw his hat into the air and then jump on his hat to jump across further away. My man's got new moves. I'm ready. Oh, my man was also riding on like a golden lion or something. Like like I'm ready for some Mario. But it don't come out till holiday. So if they don't do
Holiday.
something really super dope between now and then, like I just don't know, man. Like I kind of want to switch, but it ain't, I can live without it though,
It's not.
because right now, probably the biggest selling point for the Switch that isn't Zelda is the portability, and it's not going anywhere with me. Like that joint is
Right.
going to stay in the house, um, personally. But what do you think, man? You got a specific game you're looking forward to?
Well, at this point now, I mean, the only one out of the bunch, at least for release date, is definitely Zelda. Like, as much as I'm not a real big Zelda person,
Yeah.
but I mean, just looking at it, it looks good. I don't as much. I have mine just pre-ordered. I have my Switch pre-ordered. It's just like,
I
am I
mean,
gonna really shell out just to play Zelda, or I can get it on the Wii U, and the
yup,
Wii U's just sitting there. I
yup,
mean, that'll finally give me something to actually play on there.
yup.
But
Don't you still have to buy a 4K TV?
I still got about a 4K
Wouldn't you
TV,
rather
and
take that $300 and put it towards a 4K TV than spend it on a
oh
Switch
no,
that doesn't really have games for you to play yet?
that definitely could be an option
I'm just
there.
saying. I'm just saying.
But I still kind of want it.
I
Just
know
like you
you
said,
do.
I'm probably not going to take it out of the house as much. I mean, I do take my 3DS with me, but it's it, that's for Pokemon. Honestly, I just don't see myself taking this thing. If I'm taking any tablet out of the house, it's probably my iPad.
Correct.
Because if you're going to tell me, let's say, because the only time I would probably take this out, let's say we go to one of our conventions or whatnot ever, and maybe when we're just relaxing at times, I'll pull this out, maybe play a game here and there. But if that's the only legit reason that I could think about, or like say you have yours, maybe I come over, we do Mario Kart, or we do something like that.
Yeah.
I, there's just no reason for me the same way to take it out the house. But even down the road, like Mario would be there's something I would love to have it for. But other than those two titles, I mean, Dragon Ball, maybe we'll see eventually they'll unveil what that really truly is. But if it turns out it's Xenoverse, I'm not buying it on the Switch. I already got it on PlayStation. I'm perfectly fine with it on there.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe we'll learn of a new Pokemon. The rumor is Pokemon Stars. That comes out. I would absolutely love to pick that up. Um, but other than that, there's nothing that's just, oh wow, I got to get the Switch just so I can play this. Like,
Yeah.
there's just
I'm a
nothing there
I'm a,
that's.
I'm a tech head, and so that makes me feel like I need to buy this right away. But
Oh
I
no,
really
I'm right there
don't.
with
Like
you on
I
that
won't
too.
have anything to do with it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to sit. You know what I'm saying? Like I would play like if I bought one, I would get Zelda for it. You know what I'm saying? And I would play Zelda
Yep.
on the Switch. But like I'm not going to do that just to play Zelda cuz Zelda shouldn't cost me $350, $360. You know what I'm saying? So I have a hard time. I'm right now in my head, I'm having a hard time justifying it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm having a hard time justifying it. And the games that they have announced for it don't excite me at all, except
Nah,
for Mario
I'm right there with you.
and Zelda. The rest of it, I can honestly care less about. Like I'm glad that they have stuff to announce and that there's stuff coming for it. Um, but I also, like I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna like I don't see me jumping on Street Fighter 2 and playing that online with people. You know what I mean? Mario Kart 8, I will play Forza. But and that's not to say that like I wouldn't play Mario Kart 8, but again at the same time like it wouldn't be worth it for me to buy it. Like I could go buy Mario Kart 8 for my Wii U right now. I don't own it cuz I don't really care. But if I
Same here.
wanted to play it with the kids or something like that, and again, you got to remember that like my kids are old. So with the exception of the one young one I have who might play Mario Kart for like an afternoon. You know what I mean? Unless all of my
Hmm.
nieces and nephews or something are over, like there's no reason for me to have Mario Kart 8. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like it's just not a thing for me. So um honestly that being the case, while I think it's perfectly cool that in a game like 1-2 Switch, we can pretend to be shooting each other and see who's quickest on the draw. We can do that in Overwatch.
I was say
Because
there's
whoever
plenty of other
dies
ways we can do that.
was slower on the draw. You know what I mean? Like it's so. Yes, there are cool things that can be done with it. I'm not trying to take that away from it. I am saying that for me, as a gamer and purchaser of things, it's not. I'm not sold just yet. I'm not
Just
sold.
yet.
I need to see more. I need to see more. And I need to see how they back up what they're doing and talking about with more games. I need to see more third party, um, you know, and I would like to see them have been doing more than the two games we already knew existed and a couple of old games. You know what I mean? Like this thing they announced the NX like 2 years ago.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, what have y'all been doing? Is this what you were doing? 1-2 Switch? Because that's not working for me. So, I think the presentation was great. I think it was a great presentation. I enjoyed it. It gets a little rough when you're watching something like that and it's live in Japan and they're translating it in English. It's a little rough. Um,
I'd have been fine with subtitles, honestly.
I mean, I cannot type, so I was typing information that was coming across the screen. I needed to be able to hear it. Thanks very much. So subtitles I'm cool with, but only if I'm looking at the screen. I wasn't looking at it the whole time. I mean, obviously I was watching the trailers and stuff when they showed that. And I was excited about Mario. And I thought it was cool that they waited until the end to do Zelda and actually announced that it was coming as a day one, which I think was an absolute must because for all of the people, there are people who bought a Wii U just for Zelda
Yeah,
and
that
never
is
got
true.
it. So now the question is, if you bought a Wii U just for Zelda, you spent $250. $300 on a Wii U so that you could play Zelda. Now that it's coming, are you going to spend another $300? Will you spend $600, $650 plus cost of the game to play Zelda on the Switch? Because they haven't given us a reason why you should play it on the Switch versus anywhere else. And it's coming
Nope.
out in a month and a half. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a lot of time. So somehow between now and then, like, they need to do that. Or I just think if you have a Wii U, you're gonna get you get it for the Wii U if you want to play it that bad. And I kind of want to play it, so I think that's what I would do.
Yeah,
So
and hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on it. I know with their little Switch, the play events, I know we'll get to get a chance. It'll be here in DC, February 12th. So I'm kind of hoping to go there and kind of get our hands on it, see exactly what it feels like to really play it.
man, I mean that's cool, but February 12th, I'm gonna be thinking about February 14th, and not because of Valentine's Day, but because of For Honor. That's what I'm gonna be thinking about.
That's still 2 days away. So I
If
mean,
For Honor comes out for the Switch and you can use the motion controls to sword
oh
fight,
my.
now we talking. Now we're talking. I don't know. I don't really have anything left to say about it. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and tell me what you think about the Switch and what's been announced and how you feel about paying Nintendo to play online. Um, Anything else? Any last words on the Switch for you, Jokes?
No, nothing I
Nah.
can think of. I mean,
Done.
it's almost here, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still not. I'm not wowed the way I was hoping to be, but
It's weird because I'm excited because it's a new console, and I'm excited because it's a new Nintendo console,
with barely
but I
anything to
can't.
play.
Yeah, I can't justify it right now. So yeah, it's just not working. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 50 of Snacking and Hanging, the Loading Snacks podcast. Do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe to us over on YouTube. Do us a favor and leave us a comment on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you happen to be listening to this from. Share this with your friends. By all means, drop us a comment and let us know what you think, or shoot us an email to tell us what you think. And if there's anything you feel like we should be discussing that we're not, by all means, let us know that too. And if you disagree with something that we said, or you agree with something that we said, by all means, feel free to shoot us an email at loadingsnacks@gmail.com. You can email me directly at gage.loadingsnacks@gmail.com, or NuJoker at NuJoker89. That's NuJoker. .loadingsnacks@gmail.com. Feel free to follow us on social medias. I'm Empty Shells, MTSHELLZ, across your Twitters and your Instagrams and so forth. NuJoker is NuJoker89 across all of those things as well. Make sure you follow my man over at NuJoker's Adventures on Facebook. You can certainly follow Loading Snacks on Facebook as well. And if you hit at Loading Snacks across your socials, you will find us there too. Feel free to shoot us a comment or rap at us. We try to get back to you guys. There's a lot of you out there. One more time, we appreciate you listening. This has been episode 50 of Snacking and Hanging. We are out. Toodles and lose.